What's up, Broncos Country? Look here, Denver Broncos family. What's happening now in 2025 is different from everything we've seen in recent years. You know why? Because this time, the team understood one thing. There's no point flying high at the beginning and falling at the end. And this, my friends, is exactly what's been worked on behind the scenes of the orange and blue team. Let's be serious here. Over the last 2 years, Denver had incredible winning streaks. In 2023, after starting with a rough 1-5, the team strung together 5 straight wins. We looked unbeatable, right? But when December came, when the cold hit and the games got heavy, what happened? We crashed. A loss in Houston started a 1-3 stretch that ended everything. And that loss to the New England Patriots on Christmas Eve, that hurt Broncos Country. It hurt bad. In 2024, things improved. We made the playoffs after almost a decade. But you know what happened when we faced the Buffalo Bills in the first round of the playoffs? We took a 31-7 beating that showed the brutal difference between a team that's used to the playoffs and a team that was there for the first time in years. The Bills were in their 6th consecutive postseason. Us, first time since 2015, they were ready, prepared, cold. Us, too nervous. And you know what became clear after that beating? That it's not just about making the playoffs. It's about getting there whole, prepared, focused, and physically capable of handling the grind. Because, family, football doesn't forgive when you're running on empty. Now tell me something. Do you remember Nick Bonito? That pass rusher we love to see destroying quarterbacks? Well, he was the first to raise his hand and admit, man, I wasn't 100% at the end of 2024. In the last 3 games before the final game against the Chiefs, who were resting their starters, Bonito had only 3 quarterback hits and half a sack. Half! For his standards, that's practically disappearing from the game. And you know what he did? He took the entire 2025 offseason and transformed his training. His focus was one thing, taking care of his body to handle the home stretch. Because he knew there's no point being a monster in the first 10 weeks if you turn into a zombie in the last 7. And check this out, his workload in 2025 is practically the same as 2024. He played 61% of snaps last year, and now he's at 62%. So it's not about playing less, it's about being ready to play until the last down of the season, and it's not just Bonito, Broncos Country. Veteran Mike McGlinchey, that right tackle who's seen everything in this league after almost 8 seasons, knows that in the NFL, you have 2 options. Either keep evolving or fall behind. Simple as that. And he made it crystal clear. Standing still is moving backward. McGlinchey said something that sums up everything Denver needs now. Be your best when the moment demands it. There's no point playing pretty in September if you crumble in January. He said explicitly that the definition of mental toughness is being your best on command. It's executing plays in the highest pressure moments when the lights are brightest and everyone is watching you. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Why did Denver fall so hard in the last 2 home stretches? It wasn't because the team was bad. It wasn't because talent was lacking. It was because we lacked what separates the good from the great, physical and mental consistency when everything gets harder. Think about it. December in the NFL is war. Teams making the playoffs are separated by 1 or 2 wins at most. Every game is life or death. And if you don't have a full tank, if your legs are heavy, if your head isn't focused, you lose. Simple as that, and Sean Payton knows this better than anyone. He said clearly that any team worth its salt can stack wins. But Denver needs 2 things now. Start the season better and maintain the level until the end. Because in the last 2 seasons, the team started badly. Really badly. And that costs you. But there's something different in 2025. Family. You know what it is? Experience. Jonathan Cooper, that linebacker who's become one of the pillars of our defense, said something very important. We're more experienced, more prepared, more ready for this moment. He compared the 2024 season to 2025. Last year, when we got to that Bills game, it was our first playoff appearance since 2015. We were nervous, anxious, wanting to prove something. Them? Cold as ice. They'd been there 5 straight times. They knew exactly what to do. But now we've tasted it. We know what it's like. We understand the pressure, the weight, the intensity, and that, Broncos Country, makes all the difference in the world. If you're a true Denver Broncos fan, subscribe to the channel now so you don't miss any updates from this home stretch. Drop that like because we're going to need a lot of positive energy from here on out. But back to the subject. What's happening at Denver practices now is no joke. The guys are taking this focus thing seriously because they know that when January comes, games will be decided in the details. And detail is exactly this: preparation, physical conditioning, mental health. Garrett Bowles, that left tackle who protects our quarterback like his life depends on it, explained well what the team's mentality is: stay calm, stay composed, and attack each opponent the same way. Doesn't matter if it's a weak team or the Kansas City Chiefs. The preparation has to be the same, the focus has to be the same, the intensity has to be the same, and he said something that gave me goosebumps. This team has one of the best coaching staffs in the entire NFL. And look, he's not lying, family. Sean Payton isn't just any coach. The guy won a Super Bowl, commanded one of the most explosive offenses in the league for years in New Orleans, and knows exactly how to prepare a team for the home stretch. But here's the crucial point I want you to understand, Broncos Country. Payton made one thing very clear: confidence comes from demonstrated ability. You don't become confident just because you want to. You become confident because you've proven to yourself that you're capable. And this Denver team needs to prove that in the upcoming games. Look at what's at stake now. We're not just fighting to make the playoffs anymore. We're fighting to be a protagonist. We're fighting to win the AFC West. We're fighting for home field advantage in the playoffs. And for that to happen, we need total, absolute, unwavering focus. And you know who understands all this pressure? Pat Certain, too, that cornerback who's practically an island on the field. Nobody gets past him. The guy is all-pro, considered one of the best at his position in the entire league. And even so, he says, we can't let high expectations distract us from the fact that we still have a lot to accomplish. Certain said something beautiful. We go day by day in training camp, sharpening the steel, improving the toolbox, getting better on the grass. Because that's what champions do. They don't get satisfied. They don't settle. They know every day is an opportunity to get 1% better. But let me tell you something that might scare some Denver Broncos fans. You know we have a history of falling apart precisely when the pressure mounts. In 2023, after that 5-game winning streak that put us at 7-6 at the end of November, we had everything to make the playoffs, but we lost 3 of the last 4. In 2024, we managed to break the playoff drought, but we got there already tired, already worn out. And the big challenge of 2025 is precisely this: not repeating the mistakes of the past. Because now the team knows it can compete, knows it has talent, knows it has coaching, but knowing isn't enough. You have to execute. And executing means several things. It means Mike McGlinchey staying healthy and dominating his matchups on the offensive line. It means Nick Bonitto getting to the quarterback with the same ferocity in Game 17 that he had in Game 1. It means Pat Certain shutting down the best opposing receivers when the playoffs arrive. It means Bo Nix, our young but extremely talented quarterback, making the right decisions in decisive moments. By the way, let's talk about Bo Nix real quick. The kid arrived in 2024 as the first pick of the draft, with the pressure of replacing that Russell Wilson guy, who I don't even need to mention by name because, you know, the soap opera that was. And you know what Bo did? Delivered? Got us to the playoffs. Showed absurd maturity for a rookie. But now, in 2025, the bar has risen. It's no longer about being promising, it's about being decisive. And everyone in the Denver locker room knows this. Courtland Sutton, that receiver who's one of the offensive leaders, spoke a hard truth that's difficult to swallow but necessary. The responsibility is ours. When the roster was set, this is the team we have, and this is the team we need. No excuses, no ifs. We have everything we need inside that locker room to win, and that's what matters. This mentality, Denver Broncos family, is what separates mediocre teams from championship teams. Mediocre teams look for excuses. Oh, we were missing that player. Oh, the schedule was tough. Oh, we had bad luck. Championship teams look in the mirror and say, we have everything we need, now we execute. And executing in the home stretch of the season is completely different from executing in September. In September, teams are still getting to know each other, still adjusting schemes, still building chemistry. But in December and January, everyone already knows who's who, already knows what works and what doesn't. And then it becomes a war of wills. Who wants it more? Who's more physically prepared? Who's more mentally focused? Who executes better in pressure moments? These are the questions that define champions, and the 2025 Denver Broncos have all the tools to answer these questions the right way. But tools don't win games by themselves. You need execution. You need consistency. You need that unwavering focus the team has been preaching since the beginning of the season. Look, Broncos Country, I'm going to be honest with you. We're in a privileged position now. We're fighting for the playoffs. We have a talented team. We have one of the best coaches in the league. We have a promising quarterback. We have a defense that can stop anyone when it's locked in. But privilege doesn't win games. Execution wins games. And that's why everyone is talking about focus, focus, focus. Quinn Meinerz, that guard who's one of the pillars of our offensive line, said something very important about the team's trip to the East Coast mid-season. We need to stick together and make the most of this opportunity, because moments like these build teams, build chemistry, build confidence. And confidence, family, is everything in this sport. But it's not that empty confidence, you know? It's not that early season excitement where everyone thinks they're going to win the Super Bowl. It's the confidence that comes from having done the work, from having prepared properly, from knowing that when the bomb goes off, you'll be ready. Zach Allen, our defensive end, who's a monster destroying running plays, talked about the team needing to play 60 complete minutes at a high level, because there's no point playing 3 quarters well and relaxing in the last one. There's no point dominating the first half and sleeping in the second. You need to be consistent from the first to the last second. And check this out. Sean Payton even admitted that one of his concerns is precisely run defense. Some teams manage to run well against us at moments during the season, and that needs to change, because in the playoffs, if you don't stop the run, you won't go far. But there's something that makes me extremely confident in this team, Denver Broncos family. You know what it is? Self-awareness. This team knows where it needs to improve. It's not talking nonsense. It's not deluded. It's got its feet on the ground, recognizing mistakes, working to correct them. Benito himself said, if we want to be the team that wins the division and achieves the goals we set, we're going to have to go through the best and win. No shortcuts, no easy way. It's facing the Chiefs, it's facing whoever comes our way, and it's winning. And look, when I say this team is focused, it's not empty talk. DJ Jones, our defensive tackle, is coming back from injury ready to contribute. Ben Powers, the guard who was injured, is back practicing. The team is getting healthier at exactly the right time of the season, because an injury in December is the worst thing that can happen, family. You spend the entire season preparing, building rhythm, improving, and then an injury takes you out at the decisive moment. That's why Benito's work in the offseason, focusing on staying healthy, is so important. That's why everyone is talking about physical conditioning. Now let me ask you a question. You who are watching, do you think this 2025 Denver Broncos is ready to break the curse of recent years and finally stay strong until the end? Or do you think we'll repeat the mistake and fall when the pressure mounts? Because look, I believe we've learned. I believe the beatings we took in 2023 and that humiliation against the Bills in 2024 taught us something valuable. They taught us that talent isn't enough. You need preparation, you need maturity, you need focus. And everyone in the Denver locker room is preaching the same thing. From Coach Sean Payton to the last player on the practice squad, the message is clear: total focus on the home stretch. McGlinchey summarized it perfectly when he said you need a little luck, you need to stay healthy, and you need to be your best when your best is needed. And that's exactly what defines the playoffs. It's not always the most talented team that wins. It's the team that executes best in decisive moments. Look at the Buffalo Bills example. Why do they make the playoffs every year? Because when January comes, they know what to do. They don't get nervous. They don't get pressured. They execute. And that's what they showed when they destroyed us 31-7 last year. But now? Now we have that experience too. We felt the pressure. We know what it's like. And Cooper made it very clear. This year we're more experienced, more prepared, and will definitely be ready when the playoffs arrive. And I believe him, Broncos Country. I believe in this team because I see the way they're preparing. I see the mentality. I see the focus. Sutton said, "This is the team we have, and this is the team we need. There's nowhere to run. Either we unite, execute, and win, or we're out again. Simple as that." And the big question now is, when games really start to matter, when every win is essential, when every mistake can cost the season, will this team respond? I believe so. But belief doesn't win games. Execution wins. That's why the work being done behind the scenes is so important. That's why Bonitto spent the entire offseason focusing on staying healthy. That's why McGlinchey is always talking about constant evolution. That's why Surtain is preaching day after day of improvement. Because they know that in the playoffs, you face the best teams in the league. You face all-pro quarterbacks. You face defenses that studied you all year. You face extreme pressure situations. And if you haven't prepared properly, if you haven't maintained focus back in October, November, December, you won't hold up. And you know what else, family? This Denver team has something special in 2025. It has youth but with experienced veterans to guide. It has talent but with humility to keep working. It has confidence but with realism about the challenges ahead. Bullis said something that gave me goosebumps. I'll put our team against anyone in the league. But we need to focus on improving every day and focus on the important things. And when it's time to play, we'll play. That's the mentality Broncos Country. Confidence without arrogance. Humility without fear. Focus without distraction. And look, the challenge isn't small. The AFC is brutal this year. You have the Kansas City Chiefs trying for the three-peat. You have the Baltimore Ravens with one of the best teams in the league. You have the Buffalo Bills wanting to get back to the Super Bowl. You have several extremely competitive teams. But guess what? The Denver Broncos are in the middle of this fight. And if we maintain focus, if we execute, if we don't repeat the mistakes of the past, we can surprise a lot of people. Because one thing I guarantee you, this team won't give up, won't quit, won't relax. From the first to the last game, they'll give everything on the field. The big question is, will it be enough? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. If it depends on preparation, focus, mentality, this 2025 Denver Broncos is on the right path. Sean Payton made it very clear that any team worth its salt can stack wins. But few can do it when it really matters. In December, in January, in the playoffs. And that's exactly what Denver needs to prove now, that we learn from mistakes, that we're more mature, that we're ready to take the next step. Because making the playoffs was incredible in 2024. Breaking that almost 10-year drought was special, but it's not enough. The bar has risen. Now it's about winning in the playoffs. It's about making noise. It's about showing the rest of the league that the Denver Broncos is back to stay. And look, I know some of you might be thinking, but did we really learn? Won't we fall again in the home stretch? And look, that's a legitimate doubt, because it's already happened twice in a row. But I'll tell you why I think it'll be different this time. First, because the team recognizes the problem. It's not pretending it doesn't exist. It's attacking it head on. Second, because we have experience now. We've felt playoff pressure. We know what to expect. Third, because we're preparing specifically for this. Bonitto's physical work, McGlinchey's mentality, everything points to a team that understood the lesson. And you know what's cool? The players themselves are demanding this from each other. It's not just the coach demanding. It's a culture of excellence being built inside that locker room. Allen talked about the importance of playing 60 complete minutes. Sutton talked about looking at the locker room and trusting we have everything we need. Bullies talked about attacking each opponent the same way. This isn't empty rhetoric. This is winning mentality. And when you have an entire locker room aligned, when everyone is rowing in the same direction, when everyone is focused on the same goal, special things happen. So look, Broncos Country, I'll close with this. The next games will define Denver's season. They'll show if we really learned from past mistakes. They'll reveal if this team has what it takes to be a champion. And I personally am very excited because I see a focused team. I see a prepared team. I see a team that's not satisfied with little, a team that wants more. The challenge is set, the home stretch has arrived, and now it's time to prove that all this talk about focus, preparation, and mentality isn't just talk, it's reality. So, Denver Broncos family, do you think we'll be able to maintain focus until the end and finally have a complete campaign of 17 games plus playoffs? Or do you think we'll repeat the mistake and fall when it gets tight? Comment below what you think. And don't forget to drop that like and share with your Broncos Country friends, because we're going to need a lot of positive energy from here on out. Let's go together, family. Until the next video, and bring on those decisive games. Broncos Country, let's do this!